it's important that you understand what is happening in this text. First of all, this is Jesus who is performing a critique of those who are present. If you begin at the top of the chapter, you will understand that he is talking to the multitude. But the caution is there are double agents in his presence. I want you to understand that Jesus is able to speak with certainty. He can call a thing what it is and be correct. But a warning to those of us who decide we want to judge other folk. The safest place to be to hear this message is with yourself. Don't talk to your neighbor. Don't tell them anything. Jesus allows me to use the word critique instead of criticism, because when you are critiqued, you're being checked. There is a review of your action. But when a person criticizes you, they're trying to put you down. That they're not looking to help you. If you read chapter 22, you could almost think that Jesus is critiquing them from personal reasons. But that's not it. If you only talk about me, point out my faults when I make you mad, then there's something wrong with you. If you love me, you will share with me before you get mad. Some of y'all ain't gonna like me. When I saw what he was saying, he spoke to the multitude. And there were various people in the crowd. Can I share with you, no matter where you go, there are believers and there are non-believers. There are those who are real and there are those who are pretenders. There are those who will tell you what to do, but they themselves will not do what they tell you. In this crowd, and even in this chapter, it is known as the 7 woes, but in Matthew there are 8 woes. He is warning them after he makes observation, and this word double agent is something I use. I use double agent so that you might understand a little bit better than hypocrite. That word gets too much work. Yeah, you got somebody who will call you a hypocrite in a minute. And they themselves are standing in a hypocritical spot when they call you a hypocrite. A double agent is one that a part of his or her assignment is a secret assignment. It is the life that you see. And then they have a secret life. I see already, y'all getting tight. You're saying to me, Reverend, nobody acts at home the way they act in church. I give you that. You don't put on high heels and makeup just to sit at home. But your practices in how you deal with people ought to be the same. I would much rather have you be nice in both places than nice in one place and nasty in another. Y'all come close, come close. Here's what happened. It could have been personal, but I don't believe it was, because Jesus was trying to help them even at this point. If you go back to chapter 22, you will discover that as he talked to the crowd and the multitude after he had worked miracles, the Pharisees and the scribes and the Sadducees came upon him with trickery. And I don't know how to tell you this, but as soon as your friends and your acquaintances understand that there's been a change in your life, they will come on you and see if the change is real. They will pose certain scenarios in your life, that they will give you certain invitations. They will put things before you to see if they can trip you up. I wish I had some witnesses in here. Is there anybody in here that was saved and delivered, and you tried to still hang around with the same folk you used to hang around with? Come on. I know some of y'all here, you didn't change jobs after you got saved. You didn't move out of the neighborhood you were in after you got saved. You still talk to the same neighbor. You still hung around some of the same work folk. You mean to tell me that they never challenged you after you stopped running and drinking, or did you? Maybe that's why they don't challenge you. Because they don't know you are a double. If they don't follow you to church, they don't see. Don't go there, Reverend. Don't go there. I'm going to talk about Jesus. That they came to him. And they came to him trying to trip him up. You do know, church folk have a problem when it comes to money. And they tried to trip him up with money. If you go to chapter 22, that you'll find out that they send a Pharisee to him, and what they did, that they start lauding praise on him, telling him how good he was. And then at the same time, they had a question that they thought could trip him up. And they asked him, should good Christian folk pay taxes? It's in the book. And the book says he perceived their wickedness. Can I share with you, if you're on the Lord's side and somebody's trying to trip you up, all you got to do is be still. Let the Lord tell you what's going on. He will discern whether or not they for real or not. I wish I could do some marriage counseling right here. A whole lot of us wouldn't be in some trouble if we had got pre-counseling. Move on from that, brother. They posed to him, "Good master, since we belong to God, should we pay taxes?" He said, somebody standing by, bring me a coin. He says, who put you on here? And they said, Caesar. He says, well, render to Caesar what is Caesar's, and unto God what is God. Y'all didn't get it. They tried to trip him up with a civic situation. Christians have to learn that certain jobs Christians can't have and hold and still be the same Christian that they're supposed to be. It's going to cause you to be somewhat hypocritical when a lie has to be told. I'm looking at a press secretary. I ain't picking on nobody, but she has to come out and lie for the man who lied to you the last time he lied. And if she ain't careful, he'll lie again while she's lying on TV, and then she has to change her lie. But her daddy is a Christian, she's a Christian, her whole family's a Christian. Sooner or later, she's going to have to walk away from this job because there's going to be a conflict. I think some folk love being double agent. It wasn't personal with Jesus. Let me share with you what I see here in the text. He critiqued them because of their position. Those for whom God has blessed to be over somebody, be careful. Be careful. Because if you're in charge of folk, people are watching you. So sometimes we get caught up in our positions, and we think our positions will be cover for us. But can I share with you, the Lord knows everything about you. The Lord knows everything that you're going through. What he points out here, if you read earlier in this chapter, you guys are sitting in Moses' seat. In other words, you have a position to watch the law, to administer to law, and make people understand what the law is, that they might walk by the law. But he says, y'all good at giving it out, but you ain't good at walking under it. There's a whole lot of folk who can preach you a sermon about what thou shalt not, but being a double agent, they're doing more than you're doing after they get through preaching to you. Why y'all ain't shouting out? This is a warning to those who are double agents and those who have ambition to become double agents. I'm trying to pull you back. I don't want you to be exposed. Look what the text says. He says, woe unto you, scribes, those of you who handle the law, those of you who are the writers and the keepers of the law. Woe unto you. Then he says Pharisees, and these are the strictest of the religious sect. How many of y'all know that this is a challenge between religion and righteousness? You got folk who will show up every time the church door, but they're at the bar too. They'll show up for Men's Day, Women's Day, church anniversary, every Sunday, and still show up at their girlfriend's house. Double agents. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't. Look what's behind Pharisees. He put a comma. And some of y'all think he talking about somebody else. No. He named who he was talking about. Those who handle the law, those who are in charge of the church, those who sit in Moses' seat, those for whom he has given his word. he puts a comma. And then he called them hypocrites. I wish somebody would tell me what a hypocrite was. You don't have to tell me. Let me show you. Look at what he says. For ye are like whited sepulchres. You ever been to Veteran Cemetery? Anybody? As far as the eye can see, all you see is white headstones. The only thing that interrupts the headstone is the writing on the headstone and the green grass that's under it. You don't know who anybody is, that they all look the same. We give honor to those who have fallen to defend us. Thank you, God, for those who are brave enough to go out to defend us. That's honor. But what he's saying is that these scribes and Pharisees dress themselves in honor. And they look like headstones, shined up marble stones, but inside is just like a graveyard. All that's there are dead men's bones. They're in bad shape when they leave your presence. They are double agents. Sometimes they look good, sound good. They want you to hear them dress up like they are church folk, but when they leave, they're not doing. I got something I tell my preachers. I said, preachers are like cups that people drink out of. We're like dishes that people eat from. And nobody wants to drink out of a dirty cup. Nobody wants to eat out of a dirty plate. You can be hungry. If you're hungry enough, you'll move the crumbs from the last meal aside. You go to the garbage can and get a meal if you're hungry. But most folk who come to church, they prepare to come here. They left a home. They left the lights on. They left food on the table. They're not hungry in the sense that they need stuff like that, but they need the word. And it is important how we present ourselves to them. I can't be suited up on Sunday and represent one thing and be booted up on Monday and represent something else. I can't say God bless you today and tomorrow have you be a blessing to me. Some of you are going to get that on the way home. There are people who take advantage of other folk with their position. So he says to them, y'all look good in the public, but I know what you are at home. He says, even so outwardly you appear righteous unto men, but within you're full of hypocrisy and iniquity. I can quit now, because I couldn't holler on this if I wanted to. Let me share with you the point of his warning. He's saying you're in position and you're misrepresenting God in your position. And some of y'all saying, Reverend, he talking about preachers. That ain't all he's talking about. When he saved you, you became that city that is set upon a hill. You became that candle on the candlestick. You became the light of the world. And if you're being one thing on Sunday, something else on Monday, he talking to you. I hear some of y'all arguing me right now. Reverend, he ain't done with me yet. You right, he ain't. You gonna suffer some stuff for your hypocrisy that you don't see coming. Can I tell you one of the things you'll suffer? Shame. What's done in the dark all this bad Can I take you to some good news? And then I can sit down. He talked about their position. He talked about their practices. He talked about their problems. But guess what he said in the close of this book? He said, I was standing there with my arms stretched wide. I would have taken you in at any time you came to me, like a hen takes care of her brood. I wanted to draw you under my wings. I'm talking to somebody in the house. You might have come a hypocrite, but you don't have to leave a hypocrite. God is still standing with his outstretched arms. I want to help somebody in the house. This is a personal testimony. Can I share with you? I kept asking myself, why do you keep doing that? Why? I'm talking about me. Why do you keep doing that? You know you ain't supposed to do that. I said, I don't know. Oh, I said, yeah, you know. I said, well, tell me. You love that more than you love me. I said, no, God, no. You love that more than you love me. He says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. I said, Lord, it can't be that simple. And he kept saying, I'm standing here. I'm calling you to come to me. I'll change you. Trust me. I'm in you. I will give you the power to walk away from what has you. Some of y'all still, y'all missing, trying to figure out what he do, what he do. Forget about what I did. Because it's a did. It's not a doing. He's working on something else in me. That thing that I was doing, I ain't doing no more. Y'all don't hear me. I'm not a hypocrite there. And all it is, you got to decide that you love him more than you love that.